Dun 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 dun. Hey everybody, welcome to TPIM. That's our live. I'm your host, True Power is Mine. Today's date, January 7th, 2020, the year of our Lord. Today, I want to talk about African American Development Bank. You could be like, well, what is this, True? What is this you're talking about? What I'm talking about is an overall strategy of obtaining status on a global collective level, obtaining reparations eventually, and showing the world that we can put together something in our best interest that actually helps the world. You see, it really dawned on me the other day when I was doing research for this particular show. There is nothing like that out there yet. Look at this. I went to Google here. Hold on. Okay. I went into Google and I Googled African American Development Bank, the United States of American African Development. That's the only thing that came up. Let me copy this, and I'll post the actual links. This is what I'm trying to get in your heads. Imagine now being able to facilitate manufacturing in, say, the Caribbeans, or manufacturing in some of those lower Pacific nations, Asian, I guess, Southern Eastern Asian nations, closer to, say, New Zealand or Australia. I mean, those island nations down in there. And the reason why, if you can offset rather the shipping cost, whether it's a computer or a car, whatever it may be, the shipping cost coming from, let's just use the Caribbeans. They'll ship it straight up through the Gulf of Mexico, entering the country through the Mississippi River. New Orleans will start popping again. That freight will continue up to Memphis, and then it can hit all the hubs and be disseminated all throughout the country. But it's going to take teamwork and unity. And I'm not I'm not blind to realize that will be the most difficult hurdle. I mean, I was looking at the numbers, for what the churches all basically gathered up last Sunday. I think it's somewhere in like 300 million or something like that. Just think if we could funnel that money just one Sunday. I'm not, the rest of the Sundays, give to your little local church. Absolutely. But just one Sunday, we divert that into this economic development. Well, let's just watch this. Hold on.
How can regional integration be supported in order to promote economic prosperity on the African continent? We are in Sipopo, a small town on the outskirts of Malabo, where the 54th Assembly of the Africa Development Bank, AFDB, was held. More than 2,000 participants attended the meetings. An opportunity for experts, governments, business, civil society representatives, think tanks, and academics to share their views on the effort needed to foster regional integration and to exchange views on the major developmental challenges in Africa. To begin its emergence, Africa wants to integrate better. regional integration through the abolition of borders and the improvement and construction of transport links. To achieve this, the Africa Development Bank is investing more than $15 billion to finance regional integration infrastructure. Its president has established 5 strategic priorities to accelerate Africa's development. The strengthening of integration between countries is the focal point of these priorities. The Senegambia Bridge, inaugurated in January 2019 and linking the two banks of the Gambia River, not only makes it possible to boost trade, but also to promote sub-regional integration via the Dakar, Banjul, Bissau, Cotonou, Abidjan, and Lagos corridor. The bridge was mainly financed by the Africa Development Bank (AFDB) for $93.8 million. It has already facilitated the interconnection of road network and significantly reduced travel time.
There's excitement in the air on Africa's economic opportunities, and those opportunities are boundless. The newly minted African Continental Free Trade Area will make Africa the largest free trade zone in the world, with combined GDP of over $3.3 trillion. Pulling down tariff barriers alone will spur trade by at least 53%. And with the elimination of non-tariff barriers, trade could easily double.
In Central Africa,
So obviously, there is trade opportunities on the continent, on the islands. And all we have to do is come up with the funds to invest. Get in now while it's low, and then watch it expand. All right, now let's get into the news of the day. Big tech. Hold on. Big tech gets bigger and bigger because big tech is helping government spy on the people. Oh, it's like a groundhog that never goes away. Limbaugh on air 4 more years. And Judge Judy joins Bloomberg. You see, no one is saying anything about. I'm not for sure if Judge Judy's Jewish or not. I'm not even for sure if Bloomberg is Jewish. I mean, they have some Jewish sounding names, but that doesn't mean anything. And what I mean by Jewish, I'm talking about people who identify as Jews. Okay, I mean, everyone should know by now. Some of the small hats, some of the people claiming to be this or that are in essence converts, or they're people who feel as if they're Jewish. They're not actually Semitic blood Jews, which is just I guess it's a particular point that a lot of people don't want to touch on or expound upon because it's rather uncomfortable. But the small hats stick together. The Asians stick together. Black folks stick together. The white folks stick together. But it seems like there's no American unity. There's a lot of group unity. There's a lot of individual unity. But there really doesn't seem to be any national unity at the moment. So what can change that, What can change the environment in the country? Well, almost 20-something years ago, there was an event that changed the country for a couple of months. It was called the tragedy of the World Trade attack. Everybody was like, oh, you're American? I'm American too. Wouldn't you like to be American? Ooh. But then somehow, some way, the same old ugly specters, the usual suspects, racism, misogyny, black male hatred rise its ugly head, and we have had rash of unarmed men and women being shot. We have had basically targeted attack by disgruntled, I guess, people in society. And no one ever talks about these things. No one ever discusses, well, why do we have this revolving door of disdain and hatred? Because collectively, brothers and sisters, we fail to realize our collective respect, which is something that is natural, universal on this planet, is tied to Kemet. As Kemet is exploited and looked down upon, then we are exploited and looked down upon. I know I'm not doing the best at articulating this thought today. There's so much stuff on my mind, actually. I'm trying to put this energy, these thoughts into the universe today, so that perhaps we can build upon these thoughts and manifest something that's tangible for all and for generations to come. Because the way it's set up now, folks, we are quite literally playing a Monopoly game where all the shit's already bought up. All the properties have houses and hotels on them. And when you land on them, you better be prepared to pay rent. We need ownership and we need investment in ourselves. You know, the United States has lost a lot of soft power in the world. In many respects, many people do not want to do business with the United States because they feel that for some reason there's going to be some shady underhandedness happening to them. Well, this could be based upon perceived events, perceived reality. But that's just where we're at right now. People still want to come to the United States because, for the most part, it's a good place to live. Yeah, you can get into certain areas where, your neighbor's trying to micromanage you, but for the most part, you get out and get yourself a little land away from everybody. You can basically do whatever you want within reason. A lot of places in the world, you don't have that opportunity. You know, all the all the slogans, all the sayings, all the catchphrases go out the window when you have an armed goon with a Molotov cocktail standing in front of your house. A lot of us are impoverished or disenfranchised or economically non-viable due to a sense of entitlement other groups claim for themselves. At a certain point in time, we have to be real with ourselves and understand that if life is a race, if life is a battle, it's the team that we're on. Winning, losing, breaking even, what is it? And after that true analysis of the situation and collecting the data, acting upon the data, can you make the appropriate changes? But until we're willing to have an honest look at ourselves, then I guess it's just more fantasy island, more faking it until we make it, or shall I say, fake it until we're eliminated. Because without economic viability, it's pretty obvious what's going to happen. And let's check out some more of these headlines. Judge Judy will join Bloomberg on trail. Um, Unprecedented ad drives put him on political map. Accuser, accused cannibal eats testicle of his grinder. Oh my God. Cannibalism, still a real thing. Some human being, and this is just the one that we know of, quite literally killed a man and ate him. What a sick world. More questions arise in the death of Epstein. Guard who found him yet to be interviewed. Inside autopsy. I mean, it should be kind of obvious what happened to Epstein. It's kind of a case where if you know where all the bodies are and you basically, blow your cover, then you kind of forfeit your life. There's just too many powerful people with dirty deeds in closets that would upset the whole machine at this point. France warns U.S. against digital tax retaliation. New drone task force investigating mysterious sightings across Colorado and Nebraska. Folks, point blank, what you're seeing at night is the Space Force. You kind of have to have these vehicles. Hold on. Droids now over dozens of cities. Gigantic triangular craft spotted above Texas days after New York. Astronomers track repeating radio signals across space to unexpected origins. There's so much going on. The CIA's version. Oh my gosh. It made me think, what happens when they finally roll out the chip on people? I mean, I know I often, and I might do this in the form of a survey, but if your job came at you, brother and sister, today, and they said, look, partner, give us your badge, but we have to implant this microchip in you, would you take that chip to keep your job? Yes, brother David, accept or die. Would you take that chip? And let's be honest, and we're not talking about no, hello, sir, would you like fries? We're talking about a class act job. Let's say you're making maybe $100,000 to $300,000 a year or higher, a livable wage, and your supervisor came at you, David. You've been a great member of the team here, but the company is reformatting itself, and we had to come up to the times. You have to hand in your company badge, and you have to take this microchip. We can implant it. If you leave, if you decide not to take this chip, you'll be terminated. A man of your age and status might find it hard to get gainful employment. So once again, I ask you, now this is when they ask you, I ask you, take the chip. But you know what? Brother Shannon, welcome to the show. Peace and power. You know what? Here's how it really goes down, though. Young people will be like, man, I want that chip. You old heads are just fools. You old heads are just caught up on a ancient religion. This is technology. This is the future. We don't have to worry about coming up missing because I can just jump on my app and locate my dog, my daughter, my car, my house. Everything's chipped. Let there be a nuclear blast, and you'll see just how fast people would be taking them chips. You see, one thing the war on terror should have taught each and every one of us. You don't know where the next battle is going to be fought. First, they came for the buildings. Boo-boo. Then the government came for your individual rights. Patriot Act. This is the way the game's played. They point at the sky and kick you in the knee. They point at your feet and pop you upside the head. They're masters of distraction. They're masters of redirections. Until you recognize this, then there's no help. Yes, therapist. The good old problem, reaction, solution. It has worked for thousands of years, molding and guiding society since there has been so-called society. But friends, we know that there's a better way. We know most people desire a just society. Most people desire laws because no one wants to live in a lawless situation where it's truly the strong. Because that was the case, many of you brothers and sisters would not be here right now. Not saying nothing against you personally, but I'm just letting you know there's some badass humans down here on this planet that if they were unshackled and allowed to manifest their glory, most of us would not be able to hold a candle to these individuals. But that's another story. Now, Gulf War II. Don't they mean Gulf War III? Like, people forget we had a Gulf War with President Bush's daddy. And then President Bush's son picks up the mantle after the World Trade attack. So if Trump attacks the Middle East, this would actually be the Gulf War III. Okay. We thought Trump would be different. A billionaire, not acting in the interests of the financial sector of society. Go figure. White House awaits next move, drone attacks, high risk gamble with such a stake. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Does Nancy Pelosi basically have like the end of this week to actually file the impeachment charges? I mean, using the Star Wars logic, once again, it almost looks as if Senator Palpatine, or at this point, Chancellor Palpatine, has scored a major win. You'd be hard pressed to find any articles about impeachment. It's almost as if ever since the neutralization of the Iranian national, there's no discussion about impeachment. There's no discussion about, well, was there collusion? Was there not collusion? We already know that was a joke, but was there some sort of tit for tat on the phone with the Ukrainian president? You see, here's the kicker. The people in power right now have their guy. When we vote on the next president of the United States, if we actually get to vote on the next president of the United States, let's cross our fingers, y'all. The elite of the world and of this country will have their guy or gal. We have to quit playing games, and we need to start being honest and sincere that we don't really elect our leadership. They're selected and chosen for us. That's why we have such absurd notions that we can place federal judges in a position of power forever. And that's supposed to help them, be uncorruptible. But I ask you, brothers and sisters, if the person's corrupt prior to getting that lifetime appointment, then you just sealed the deal. Then you just guarantee to corrupt, maybe even sabotaging individual in a position of power can now do things with impunity to ensure one, either he or she could promote growth in society, or two, he or she could curtail or stifle growth in society for a lifetime, guaranteed. Whereas you, brother and sister, you have to go, every year you get your employee review, or, they discuss raises with you. But you have to prove yourself every day that you're worthy to be at the job. Every day. You had better come into work with the mindset, I got to prove myself. Because most of us don't have that opportunity to where it's just a pre-gone conclusion. Hold on. Okay. So the White House is waiting for an attack. Completely coincidental. Air Force launches 52 jet fighters in training. Let me close this ad. This is just so messed up. In training exercise, 52. That's one jet for every week of the year. I'm just joking. College students panic over fine print about registering for the draft. Now, this is something good. This is what me and Judge Joe Brown and other past guests have talked about, is the feminization of the males. Even me and Senior Chief had a discussion about it. Retired Navy SEAL Don Shipley, when he was on the show, about how weaselly the men have become. I want to get this education, but I don't want to go and fight. I may get hurt. Now, I'm not advocating going to war. I'm not advocating fighting corporate wars. Certainly, I am not. But you got to grow up, folks. You got to realize there's a lot of threats out there. Of course, they were made by past diplomatic failures, by intentional hatred and deception, by the elites of this country. It's sort of like we're driving down the street in a car and the gas light's on. Are we going to pull over and get more fuel and so we can carry on? Or are we just going to pretend we can make it to our destination on an empty tank of gas? until we recognize the damage that we have inflicted due to allowing wicked people in the very high places to play games with nations, with native peoples, with elements of this society as well, with impunity. Then there will be no justice. And perhaps that's the lesson we all should learn. Perhaps in this life, in this dimension, there is no such thing as justice. Because it's merely a point of view. The people who win the war, the people who win the battle, are they truly superior than the people that loses the war, the people who loses the battle? Are they truly more moral, more honorable? Or are they just quite simply shrewder, crueler, more conniving? Because when we look at who wins conflict, even the latest battle, you had a man going into Iraq from Iran who wanted to bring or bridge the gap between Iran and Saudi Arabia, bring them closer together. But they did the same play in Iraq that we've seen played in Africa time and time again. When the leadership meets, someone gets popped. And now it's so cold, it's so tight that we can fly drones and blow up a person after we get on ground real-time feedback that this individual is here. Now, for those who don't understand how this drone thing is going to play out, please, 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 I implore you, look up high yield laser weapons, new battery technology, and then the Air Force's what is it, Dayhawk or Nighthawk? I forget the name. It's basically a solar powered drone. I think the wingspan's something like 35, 40 feet long. And it can stay in flight for weeks at a time, never being needing refuel. The solar power charges up and has an onboard battery. If you was to put one of these high yield lasers on that platform, you just made a beast. You just went beast mode because now you quite literally have a weapon platform that has infinite rounds, pinpoint kill capabilities, and negligible, minimal collateral damage, meaning you can shoot that laser beam in a multitude of ways. Let's just say you just want to send a message. You don't really want to kill nobody. You can send the laser and blind this target. Just blind them permanently. Hard to write your propaganda when you fucking can't see. You might try to be another Helen Keller or something. If that's not enough, well then you can wrap it up the energy to cause tumors. Go for the long game. Let the target suffer. Or you just amp it up, shoot a beam right through their head, fry their pineal gland, kill their pituitary gland, shoot their pancreas, explode it. All kinds of ways to kill people. But that's the world in which we are headed to. You know why? Because this is the world that you've been working on. This could have been stopped 20 years ago, could have been stopped 50 years ago, could have been stopped 100 years ago. But because of man's evil desire to subjugate, enslave, oppress other human beings, this is why not only is the world at the brink of destruction, but humanity is right behind it. We have a situation right now. Hold on. I'm going to scroll over. Oh my gosh. See, now the things. Okay. Nearly 200 arrested for deliberately starting fires. Can I tell you guys something about the whole fire game? It's really insurance fraud. What do you mean? Well, let's say that you're in the outback or you're in California. You might be getting a little behind on your property, on your mortgage or whatever. What happens when that hillside catches fire and your whole home burns down and the whole neighborhood burns down? You think those insurance adjusters going to give you any shit about cutting you a check? And like most locusts, you're not concerned about the land. You'll take that check and you'll go somewhere else. That's why you don't hear any stories about there's a huge homeless problem in Southern California after the fires. No, all those people got fucking paid. Many of them it was almost like an impromptu blessing. Well, the same gag is happening down there in Australia. You guys had better understand how this thing works. There is a plan in play, but this plan is to play you. This plan is to dominate you. And for all intents and purposes, it's quite literally working. 6.4 quake rocks Puerto Rico. Amid heavy seismic activities. Yeah, the fires for land grabs, Brother David. Think about it. The areas that get burnt out, in a couple of years, they're going to be prime locations for what? Gentrification. Go in and build some townhouses, because it's already cleared. The people who are running the show, man, no tragedy goes unprofited. They profit from everything. A fucking meteor could hit the planet and they would profit from it. That's why the way this thing's all put together. The guy that or gal that put the system together knew what the heck they were doing. And you think you're just gonna come with a couple of tricks and destroy what has been put in place? You're sadly mistaken. If you and this is, and I'm not sounding defeatist here, but mark my words, if you try to mess with the people who have money and power, you will not be long on earth. That's just the reality. Now you can say, well, true, you gotta be tough. Blah, blah. Well, you'll be dead. Now, I don't know how that would fit into anyone's strategy or tactics for success or prosperity. But having a horrible death is not my idea of winning. Nor should it be yours. Now, let's go and see what's cracking. IRS Personnel income tax audit drops to lowest level in decades. Okay. Feds to hand over Roger Stone's records to media outlets. So that should be interesting. This chick is not very attractive at all. She's kind of, ugh. I don't know if that's Harvey Weinstein's daughter or wife or brother, because it almost looks like she has an Adam's apple. But I don't want to go there. I've been so good the past few shows. If one was to listen to me, they would be thoroughly convinced that I am totally not a hater or nothing at all. So this is what I'm trying to portray, I guess, to be a little more inclusive. But here's a sad story. Neighbors fed up with McDonald's blasting bagpipe sounds to keep the homeless away. Now, I don't get why is everybody so down on the homeless? It's pretty sad. But hold on, I'm just checking. Oh my God, look at those numbers. This is crazy. I wanna share this with you guys. Dun, 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 dun. This is a TPIM SR Live short report.
In the grill, I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Let's go right back to the phones, 1-877-532-5797. Let's go to Patrick in Missouri, Sirius XM 126.
Yes, thank you, Brother Al. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be on the most powerful Black man's radio show in America. Today I want to talk about President Trump's attack on Iraq, the assassination of the general, pertaining to impeachment, and also to bring in some of your theologian knowledge. I want to ask you, Brother Al, do you think that by attacking Iran could usher in a false flag attack on the Dome of the Rock Mosque to bring in the third temple for the nation of Israel?
You could tell, brother. I was like, whoa, where did that question come from? It's important that we network the best we can. I've been trying to get on this show, that show, the Tom Hartman show, just to increase the boundaries of this show. After last month, I made a bad judgment call. I called into the Carl Nelson show. But I think this month is going to be different. I think this month is going to be better because of the fact that there is a plan now. There is a goal. Now, a lot of people don't want to be a part of the oppression. A lot of people don't want to be a part of getting their ass beat. A lot of people don't want to be a part of beginning, but they damn sure when the goodie starts coming in, they want to jump on the bandwagon. I have no problem with that. I understand a lot of people are cowards, and that's just what it is. Almost thankful for the fact that most people are cowards, because that means that you only have to convert a few people to make a positive or not so positive difference. It's a two-way street. I'm going to play one thing and then wrap this thing up for today. Hold on. Where's it at? Was it? Hold on. Yeah, this song right here. Check this out. I made this 10 years ago.
Folks, my point is...
This is a Master Lee Mochow production.
Do you hear me? You unity globally. It's me, Master Lee Mochow. Oh yes, baby. PU, oh yes, internationally, it's me and the movement, baby. We're not the zeitgeist, we're not socialists. We're straight up pumping our fists. We want unity for all humanity. Yes, everybody. I don't care about your sexual orientation. I just care. Do you want to take back this planet for the righteous friend? Take back this planet again. You know that we must win. If not, we will suffer in the end, my friend. You think that you're free, huh? But you're not free. Oh, listen to me. You're not sovereign as sovereign can be. For you don't even know the meaning. Your brain worse, listen up. You're just sitting there like a little papa wagging its tail for the master. Oh well, that throw you a bone and then you take it home. Come on, you know that this is all wrong. You know that it's all wrong. Unity, don't you hear me? Globally, it's time for us to get up and do it, baby. Reverse up, PU. Come on, you know this is brand new, 2010. This is the year of the dragon I fear. When the hammer finally strikes, you know it will not be right. Your shackles, yes, they are so tight economically. You feeling me right? Oh, listen up. Without freedom, you're just plain. Come on, you know what I'm talking about. If you cannot speak your mind, have no doubt. Unity globally, PU in every city, in every country, baby. We need no borders. Do you not hear me? We need no borders. Do you not hear me? For they're just incarcerating me, incarcerating you too. Come on, don't be no fool. Don't you see the light? Don't you see unity? Why don't you stand up and fight for your rights to be free, my friend? Fight for your rights to live again, for you are flesh and blood, my friend. You have a soul again. Don't get caught up in legal matters, my friend. What's up? You're more than a corporate sponsor or even an employee. You're so much more. Listen to me. You're a child of God, for you are alive, my friends. Don't reverse that, because you might be scared what appears when you reverse your life, my friend. And you see it again, rewind it. You see how you've been played from birth till you hit that grave. They said the mark of the beast will be on your hand or in your head. Do you have an SSN? Listen up, my friend, that number is deep inside of yins. Come on, don't you understand how you have been deceived again? Oh yes, my friend, freedom's in grabs, so reach out and seize it. Grabs your freedom, my friend, and don't let go till the bitter in unity. Hey you.
Crazy, 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 crazy. Made that shit 10 years ago, and now I've actually had an opportunity to speak to Sophia Stewart, the woman who wrote The Matrix, wrote The Terminator. Had an opportunity to speak to all these other wonderful people. I'm just here to tell you humanity is awesome, yeah. If we only give humankind a shot. We're powerful. We're magnificent. But at the same time, we got members who are twisted and fucking ugly. So, that being said, this will conclude TPIM SR Live for today. Really want to thank all the listeners, longtime viewers. I sincerely hope that today's topic is giving you something to think about. As always, live your life with integrity without hate, envy, or greed. Brothers and sisters, please, let's try to be kinder to each other. Peace and power, unity and victory, dignity and respect. Liberation. I'm out.